Hello. Hello. Playing around with things here. Uh, okay, a little better. Hello, folks. Here I am. I was not here last night, but I am here tonight, Monday, February 2nd. Uh, Yay! And there are people. We're all alive. Okay. Welcome, everyone who is here. I wanted to talk briefly about a news item that attracted my attention earlier today. And Rosie is making little peeps, so hopefully she will beam in a little bit. At any rate, a news item that caught my attention for obvious reasons. As I begin to discuss it, you'll see why. And also, it ties in with something that we talk about, or that I talk about a lot here on A Few Thoughts for Those Who Can't Sleep. So, welcome to everybody. I see you're beaming in from everywhere, which is wonderful. Oakland, and yes, you guys are hearing Rosie. That's good. I can never tell if you can hear her or not. Okay, so here's what I wanted to discuss. So, some of you may be aware of the fact that Haitians in the United States who are here legally were about to lose their temporary protected status here in the United States, meaning that they could be deported back to Haiti, which is a very dangerous place to be right now. So back to a place where they would not be safe. And there was talk about the fact that there was going to be a focus on Ohio, where there were a lot of Haitians, and that there would be something akin to ethnic cleansing to throw out all the Haitians, and something along the lines of things that this regime frequently talks about or threatens. And today, apparently, a district judge has put a stop to ending that temporary protected status. It was going to end tomorrow. So tomorrow would have been a horrible day for Haitians in the United States. A district judge has said, sorry, but you can't just end temporary protected status in that way. It's on hold indefinitely. And apparently, folk in the regime are saying, we're taking it to the Supreme Court. Okay. The point I wanted to make about this is some of what I've been reading about how people have been responding to that. And in particular, I read a story about people in Boca Raton, Florida. And apparently, there's a senior citizen residence there with a few hundred people living there. And I think it's a Jewish senior residence. And I checked it. It appeared in one publication that I wasn't sure about. So I tracked it to the Miami Herald, which had a story about it. So I double checked it before I'm giving it to you here. But apparently, people in this Jewish senior residence have been asking the people who run it, because there are many, many Haitian people who work there, who care for people there, who are known there, are loved there, have a place there as staff, that people who live there, the seniors, some of them Holocaust survivors, are asking if they can hide staff members in their apartments. So that caught my attention. Because in essence, these are, some of them at least, Holocaust survivors who are offering to hide people who are going to be attacked by the government in their apartments. To hide these people from our government. And these are people who went through their own period of hiding and having people protect them. That, I don't even know what to say about that. That's kind of a slap in the face of an extreme kind. that's these people are hiding people from our government in that way? I mean, just process that. Think about that. Think about what that makes this government. Think about what these people are feeling who have seen this kind of ethnic focused attack on people before, being them and their people, my people. And now they're watching it happen again, and now they're stepping forward to try and protect these people. Now, at least as of right now, as of 10:30-ish at night on February 2nd, it seems like the supposed ethnic cleansing of Haitians is not going to take place on February 3rd, which is a win for the side of people who actually care about other human beings and democracy and other such things that, empathy, all the things we often talk about here, who believe that people who are here legally, the Haitians are here legally, and who also are here legally with protected status because they can't go back to Haiti, which is where they were being threatened to be shipped beginning tomorrow. It's these Jewish residents of this senior residence home offering to hide Haitians essentially from us, from our government, from the United States. I kind of can't wrap my head around that. I kind of can't wrap my head around that. And I see a lot of people in the comments saying, right, they understand that what they're seeing, they've seen it before, that, in a variety of things. That's right. Someone, very good point. They're not the worst of the worst, right? We're so far past the idea that they're going after criminals, right? That everything that they're doing, all of the deportation, it's about criminals. Yeah, no, it just isn't. And it's very clear, and the numbers make it very clear, and their actions make it very clear. It's about deporting people they don't want to be here, most of them being people who are brown and Black, people who are not white enough for this regime. That's what we're seeing. So yeah, more and more people saying they understand how this is a repeat of history. I find this heartbreaking, and I can't imagine what it feels like for people who were living in that residence who went through a version of this before. And now the tables have turned and they're holding out their arms for others. I wanted to mention this tonight in part because, and I'm going to come back to President Miller, so I will come back momentarily to that. I mentioned this tonight in part, so it's a horrific story. It's a horrific thing that is happening. It's good news that, the ethnic cleansing will not start tomorrow, but the part of it that is in line with what we've been talking about here is these people, the Haitians working in this residence, and Haitians everywhere, but Haitians in this particular residence, were endangered. So the people that lived there were trying to figure out what to do to protect them, which is yet another level of Minneapolis, right? Where things are happening, where Americans can see that it's unfair, it's unjust, it's racist to the extreme, it's dangerous. Just fill in the blank with an adjective of your choice. People can see that, and they're reaching out themselves to try and help. And they didn't have to do that in the end, but the fact that they were willing to, and apparently, according to the person who runs the residence center, is the one who said people are coming to me and asking, can I just keep them, hide them in my apartment? Will they be safer if they stay with me in my apartment? These people were stepping forward to help. And it feels almost like a cliche at this point for me to say, we, we are the we. But every day almost, we get more and more and more evidence of the ways in which people, Americans, are reaching out and trying to help other people in this moment. And that's a huge way to push back against a regime that is out to use what is the name of the old science fiction TV show? Lost in Space, Kill, Crush, Destroy. That is out to kill, crush, and destroy everything. People are the solution. We are the solution. And in this case, a judge helped the matter by putting a stop to what was supposed to happen tomorrow. Big victory. It's ultimately going to end up in the Supreme Court. Someone says, yeah, I bet they'll do it anyway. It remains to be seen what happens tomorrow. Although if they're saying we're taking it to the Supreme Court, I don't know. But yeah, it would be totally in character for them to try and do it tomorrow anyway. And basically at this point say, who's going to stop us? Because no one holds us accountable. At any rate, my larger point here, part of it was to just highlight the horror of people hiding people from our government. I still don't quite know what to say to that, but to add to that, the fact that more and more and more and more people are reaching out to do what they can in this situation, to protect people, to help people, to, in this case, that's part of their community, the Haitians who work at this place, to protect and defend their neighbors, their community, their neighborhood. That is how, in one way or another, we are going to survive this. Because it's obvious and very obvious, but no one's riding to our rescue right now. And there are some leaders of various sorts, political leaders and otherwise, who are standing up and who are speaking out. There are many who aren't. And in the end, I am grateful for those who are. I will continue to urge those who are to do as they're doing. But we can't sit back and expect that to fix the problem. We have to push back. We have to take care of each other. We have to be here for each other. We have to stand by each other in one way or another. And it's, I don't know, to me, it seems like it's not a place, it doesn't feel like a vibe that I've felt a lot of in the United States. Certainly, maybe not in my lifetime. So the fact that I'm out here almost every night preaching that this is a thing we have to do, I suppose that's why I'm preaching it. I think it's essential. And I think certainly generally speaking, my life is very attuned to me and my apartment and Rosie the resistance bird and, the people out in the world who are my community, but I don't think about regularly coming together with people in a way that will be supportive because we will know that we are there for each other. Someone said it's a heavy one tonight. I know I couldn't help but talk about this, but I want to spin it around. Actually, I want to make one point and then I want to spin it around so that we do not end on the heavy note. I do want to say something that occurred to me today is if people started routinely referring to Stephen Miller as President Miller, that would really bother some people. Just gonna put that out there. Not gonna say more than that. Gonna put that out there. Okay, so to bring this back into a less heavy ground, the thing that the horror of it stands out to me, but the fact that it's reinforcing the idea that this is a time when we can be here for each other, where it will matter. So first of all, the judge saying, no, we can't do this. is, take the victories as we have those victories. Any example that I could find of people saying we're going to help take care of, our own, I'm going to bring them right here. I'm going to bring them to you guys because they're happening all over the place. You just know they are. I just don't necessarily have examples flowing through my fingertips. I was caught by the horror of this story, and then I found my way to the, hey, like people are just wanting to take care of the people they care about, the people in their lives. There are a lot of people who are in that space who want to help people out, who are not used to being in that mindset, who are not necessarily used to doing what you guys are doing here, right? Beaming in with me 10:30 on a random weekday night, just cause, right? Just because we're all here and we're together. I maybe was slow to coming to realize that you can build community this way, and that this community can go on to build other communities. And that's a big part of what we're doing here, right? I say this on my Friday morning History Matters podcast all the time too. I say that about that, and it's about this. Anyone can do this, right? So yes, for 301 weeks, I've been doing that Friday morning podcast, History Matters. Anyone could do that. Anyone could have a group of friends, could call them together and say, you know what if like once a week we all get together and we sort of talk through where things are and what we think about it. Anyone could do that. That's the democratic glory of Zoom or YouTube or whatever else you want to use. Anyone can do that. And that creates a kind of a community that didn't exist before. I'm on the board of a lot of arts and cultural organizations, and some of them are small or not huge and making big amounts of money. And what they discovered is that because of Zoom, people now flock to events that they give when before there might be 50 people or 75 people. And now there are thousands of people that will come to their events, that will be part of their literary or intellectual community. So that's what we can do for each other. And that's what you guys are doing here, talking to each other at the same time that you're listening to me. It's so hard because I just want to keep up with you guys and chat with all of you. But anyway, my larger point this evening is, despite that horror, and because of that horror, this matters. We matter. We do. I probably should just have like "we" tattooed on my forehead. We, because that's where the power is. That's it. There's no greater power than that. No matter how bullying, no matter how violent, there will always be a we that can stand up in front of it. And I'm not saying this is easy. I'm not saying we all come together and then it's all going to be good. But I am saying the folks who are the regime who's trying to enforce itself and who's invading different cities in the United States, as I say and have said many times, they're trying to show how strong they are. They're trying so desperately to show how strong they are that it's proof that they're not as strong as they really want to be. And everything that we see that stands up in that effort, that stands up against that, is yet more evidence that they're not as strong as they want to be. This is, we are in an important moment. It might not feel like it because, we're going to be in this moment for a while. Someone asked me yesterday to think like where I think we are, like somehow in this struggle that we're in. And I said, I don't know, but I sort of vaguely feel like we've walked into the ocean and we're kind of far away from the shore. And we can't really necessarily see the opposite shore yet, but there's a hell of a lot of us who are all together at the same point in the ocean. So it's not a comfy place to be, but we're not standing there alone in danger. We're standing there together. So once again, I know I probably used the word hokey more here than I've ever used it in my entire life, because I haven't probably ever gotten in front of 1,200 people and said community matters, neighborliness matters, love and togetherness matters, we the people matter, because it sounds hokey in its way. It's also true. It's also heartfelt, passionately true. And, I'm not going to predict things that come. I'm not going to, I have no idea how this is going to go as it goes. No idea. No one does. And it's going to not be easy to get out of the place that we're in. But it's an important moment, as I said a moment ago, because nothing is done. Nothing is decided. This is a struggle, and we've got power in this struggle. We do. So now is a moment to know that, to own that, to figure out how we can use that to come together and take care of each other, because that matters. And again, not something we necessarily always do, or at least a lot of people don't necessarily always do in their lives. It's not such a horrible thing to think about the fact that we all need to be better at coming together. That's something you wouldn't expect to be an outcome of what we're going through right now. But yes, Obi Mom Kenobi, which is a great handle. We are making history. We are, I mean, we are in the middle of historic events. Years ago, I don't even remember which historic event it was. It might have been, it was before the pandemic. It might have been the collapse of the economy. Whatever it was, I remember going to a senior colleague of mine, historian, and saying, is it just me, or, does this feel like a historic event, or am I just being like naive because everything's a historic event? And he said, no, actually, this feels like a historic event. Speaking as a historian, this is one. We are living through something that no matter where we end up, no matter how things end up, people will be talking about what is going on here and the history that is being made. So yes, as Obi Mom Kenobi said a little while back, we are making history. It is ours to make. And we should not let that story, we should not let that narrative be told by those with political power, because the United States is about we the people. The narrative is ours. They may think they can write it, but we see every day the ways in which they're lying about things and erasing things and denying things, and all of the ways in which they're trying to shape a screamingly false narrative. That's what it is. They're creating a narrative that serves their purpose. I won't talk about this in detail tonight, but another thing that they're increasingly doing is they're now branding protesters as domestic terrorists, right? So that now they can say, oh, no, we're not going against protesters. We're going against domestic terrorists. So that's like supposedly a sneaky way to go after our rights as Americans to protest. Seems to me that's going to likely be moving ahead, but I also know that it's such a tried and true and blatant right that we have to peacefully protest, that if that's part of the struggle we're in right now, okay, then that's part of the struggle that we're in right now. Peaceful protest is a protected right within our Constitution. So at any rate, that's where I want to end up tonight is, and I like the idea, and I haven't framed it this way before, that we are making history and we will make it together. We will. Just the idea of all kinds of people coming together to protect their neighbors, to stand up against attack, to be here for all of the like-minded people, which is the majority of people. It's the other thing. I've said this before too, but we have a lot more we than they. We have our we is a lot bigger than their we, and that matters too. So I don't ever want to sound Pollyanna-ish. I don't want it to be like it's all good and we are all going to be here together and it's all going to be okay. But I honestly believe that we, the people coming together and uniting to protect each other, that's a power that ultimately can't be defeated. It might be tamped down, it might be attacked, but in the end, it can't be defeated. And that's a good point. Someone went whizzing by and I missed your name. They're not really a we. That's a very good point. Well, they are kind of a we grounded on hate, which I suppose is a specific kind of we, but that's not the same thing as people coming together grounded on, empathy and a sense of the inclusiveness of democracy and what democracy should be. So at any rate, we are a bigger we and we are a stronger we. And the fact that you guys are just keep coming here, not every night, but close, to engage in these conversations, that's a we. Here we are, a we. So I want to thank you guys again for coming. Trying to catch up with what you're saying. Yeah, there's a lot of hate. They have a lot of hate. That's true. Some of you are saying that. Empathy is stronger. Who knew that empathy was, people are going to be rage harvesting and trying to farm out empathy? But if you're here, we've got it. We want to take care of each other. So at any rate, okay, I'm going to stop talking, and I will try not to have a typical long goodbye. As ever, I want to wish us all a nice big can of chutzpah. We're going to need it. We're going to keep on needing it. I want to encourage all of us to take care of each other. And I want to tell everyone to be strong and of good courage. As my friend Richard Bernstein always said, be strong and of good courage. That is what we need, and we can do that together. So thank you, folks, for being here. I love you guys for being here and proving that this is a possible thing for us to do. Rosie stopped chirping, but maybe some of you heard at the beginning. She offered a couple peeps. I want her to beam in for you like I do. At any rate, folks, please sleep well, get some sleep. We need to be revved up to keep going. And I will see you very, very soon. Thank you for being here, guys.